Pig's Head. When Luis Figo stepped onto the Camp Nou pitch in 2000 wearing a Real Madrid CF shirt, he already knew the atmosphere would be hostile. Just months earlier, he had left FC Barcelona in one of the most controversial transfers in football history. For Barcelona fans, it felt like betrayal. Throughout the match, every time Figo walked toward the corner flag to take a set piece, objects began flying from the stands. Coins, bottles, and lighters scattered across the grass. Then something far more bizarre appeared. A pig's head landed right beside the corner flag, only a few feet from where Figo was standing. The referee stops the match while it was cleared away. The moment quickly became one of the most unforgettable images in football, perfectly capturing just how furious the crowd was that night. Mars bars. When Paul Gascoigne returned to St. James Park with Tottenham Hotspur FC during the 1988-89 season, the reaction from Newcastle United FC supporters took a strange turn. Gascoigne had grown up at the club and many fans still had affection for him, but they also knew about one of his well-known habits, his love for junk food. As the match went on, Mars bars began landing on the pitch whenever he moved near the touchline. Chocolate bars rolled across the grass while players looked around in confusion. It wasn't an angry protest so much as a mischievous joke from the crowd. Gascoigne himself later laughed about the incident, and it remains one of the more light-hearted ways a returning player has ever been welcomed back to his former stadium. Half-eaten hamburger. Rivalries between Liverpool FC and Manchester United FC rarely stay calm, and the 2005-2006 meeting at Anfield was no exception. Late in the game, Gary Neville scored a dramatic winner for Manchester United. Instead of celebrating quietly with his teammates, he ran straight toward the Liverpool supporters and passionately kissed the badge on his shirt. The reaction from the stands was immediate. Among the objects thrown toward the pitch was a half-eaten hamburger that landed near Neville as he turned away. It didn't stop the match, but it became one of those oddly specific football moments that people still remember whenever that rivalry is discussed. Tennis balls. Sometimes the strange objects that appear on football pitches are not at all random. During a match between Bolton Wanderers FC and Hull City FC in the 1998-1999 season, bright yellow tennis balls suddenly started bouncing across the field. Dozens of them appeared within seconds, forcing the referee to stop play. Players began kicking them toward the sidelines while stewards rushed onto the pitch to collect the rest. This was actually a coordinated protest from Hull supporters aimed at their chairman, David Lloyd. The idea was simple. Tennis balls were cheap, easy to bring into the stadium, and once they were on the pitch, the game simply couldn't continue. For several minutes, the field looked more like a tennis court than a football stadium. Scooter. At a match between Inter Milan and Atalanta BC and the 2000-2001 season, something unusual suddenly appeared falling from the stands. For a moment, it was hard to tell what it was. Then it became clear. Someone had tried to throw a scooter toward the pitch. The vehicle didn't quite reach the field and crashed down short of the grass, but the attempt alone shocked everyone in the stadium. Football crowds sometimes throw scarves or plastic cups, but a motor scooter was on a completely different scale. Even though it never landed on the pitch itself, the moment quickly became one of the strangest things anyone had ever tried to send into a football match. Front half of a dead cat. During a match between Charlton Athletic FC and Luton Town FC in the early 1980s, players suddenly noticed something disturbing lying on the grass. Someone in the crowd had thrown the front half of a dead cat onto the pitch. The referee quickly stopped play while it was removed before the game continued. Incidents like this were extremely rare, but they reflected a time when stadium security was far less strict than it is today. Even by the standards of that era, it was a moment that left both players and spectators stunned. Pants. At a 1999-2000 match between Reading FC and Wrexham AFC, a strange object drifted down from the stands and landed on the pitch. It was a pair of pants. The reason behind it was actually a joke from the crowd. In British slang, saying something is pants means it's terrible. Reading supporters, unhappy with the way their team was playing, decided to make their feelings clear in a very literal way. The referee briefly stopped the game while the item was removed, leaving everyone with one of the more oddly creative fan protests football has seen. Car door. During a 1998 international match between the New Zealand national team and the Chile national football team, a loud metallic crash suddenly echoed across the stadium. When players looked over, they saw something lying on the grass that definitely did not belong on a football field. A car door. Somehow, someone had managed to throw it from the stands onto the pitch. Its size alone made the moment feel surreal. The door was quickly removed so the game could continue, but the sight of it sitting there on the field remains one of the strangest interruptions in the sport's history. Wheelbarrow. Things turned chaotic after a Brazilian match between America Football Club Minas Gerais and São Caetano in 2004. Following the final whistle, tensions between players and staff erupted into a large confrontation on the pitch. In the middle of the shouting and pushing, an unexpected object appeared among the crowd, a wheelbarrow. Whether it came from stadium maintenance equipment or was dragged into the scene during the chaos, nobody was quite sure, but the image of it sitting there while players argued only added to the strange, almost surreal atmosphere of the moment. Hand grenade. One of the most serious objects ever discovered on a football pitch appeared during a match between Brentford FC and Millwall FC in the 1965-66 season. Brentford goalkeeper Chick Brody noticed something unusual lying behind his goal and alerted the referee. When officials looked closer, they realized it was a hand grenade. The match was immediately halted while experts were called in to deal with it safely. Thankfully, it never exploded. Even decades later, the incident remains one of the most alarming and bizarre objects ever found on a football pitch.